So time for a little story before we jump into today's video, although this is totally on the topic of today's video. This was a conversation I had last year when I was running the concessions table at a basketball game. I had a volunteer there to help me, and a parent volunteer, and she just said, God, like how do you manage this? What do you do for dinner on nights when you're running concessions? Because the concessions timetable actually was there. I would get there about 4:15 and not get home until 7:30, 8 o'clock. And so she had a very real concern, like, how do you balance everything? And so I thought, oh, that is a great topic for Karen and I to discuss so that we can kind of talk about how do you balance your PTO responsibilities with the rest of your life. So I think so many people struggle with this. I personally struggle with it. Karen is nodding her head vigorously.
Big time. Yes.
Yeah. So what advice, how do you balance things? And knowing that it's sometimes going to be out of balance, and that is the balance, right?
Yeah, I don't know what this balance is you speak of. And my husband would certainly say, what kind of life balance do you? Yeah.
Okay, we cannot talk about what our husbands think of this. They just need to go away.
Yeah. We're happier people because we do this. We have an outlet.
That's right. So, and they would be wise just to zip it, because they have things they talk about endlessly too.
Exactly. I'm a what's the fire that you've got to put out right now. I tend to push off like my real life things. Now, my kids' stuff, like, their lives take priority. Like, I got to get so-and-so to dance and gymnastics and baseball and all those things like that I prioritize, but it's like my me time where I don't balance well. And I know when I'm really in my groove in PTA land, when like my laundry's piling up and I am not doing my household things because I'm like, oh, I'm going to get online and I'm going to look for new, teacher appreciation ideas and all this kind of stuff. But, I think it's that like start and stop. It's not cruise control for me. I'm a project-based mind. Like, if I'm taking on an event, I'm like, okay, well, I'll tackle that after Carnival. Like, and then kind of slotting my life into the calendar of PTA, sort of. So I know when those weeks where it's like teacher appreciation, yeah, we're getting McDonald's on the way home, like, because I've cooked a huge meal and provided it for a staff of 85, right? So there's those moments where you take a step back in your personal life and then you go, ooh, now it's time to reverse and put on the brakes in PTO land and move on. Do you feel the same way, or do you heal?
Well, I think, okay, so I'm very organized. So let's start there, because everyone comes to my house and they said, does your house always look like this? And I'm like, for the most part, yeah. It's not perfect. Like right now, there are after prom prizes piled up on the back of my couch. There's the dog snuffle mats that I had them doing so I could quiet them down to record the videos in peace. And over on that desk, there are some library books and after prom stuff. And down at my feet is my PTA bag from last week, because I leave my stuff kind of in my way so that I will do it. The secretary at the PTA meeting did not come last week, so I filled in. So I need to type those minutes up, and there's some craft stuff over here. So it's generally organized, but I find that like when life is easier if I have a meal plan, I am one that gets hangry. And so that is not a good scene. So I need to account for things. And I also will eat like crap if I'm not eating good food, if that makes sense. So like if I have a balanced meal where I feel like that was very satisfying, then I'm not going to be reaching for junk food, which is better for me personally. So I found like meal planning is super helpful. And also I have taken to specifically calendaring tasks out so that I know I can do them. So like I do laundry now on Wednesdays and Sundays. My husband will say that is not always true, because sometimes it's Thursdays and Mondays or another day, but it's close. Like that's my goal. And I've done that for a long time. And so that's personally how I deal with it. Cause I feel like if it's on the calendar, like I will even calendar PTA stuff. Actually, I don't put that stuff on my calendar. I do make like a daily to-do list and have what I'd like to get done for the day. sometimes it spills over into the next. Because like my hopes and dreams for life are beyond my time constraints. And I'm constantly saying I need to clone myself. But like you, I do have, I always say, oh, it'll be better after I get done with XYZ. And my husband laughs, he goes, and then what's next? And I was like,
that's the problem. There's always the next to that.
With that, there is something next, but like that's not how I think. Like, I'm like, oh, I'll get relief then. And then I have a bit of respite. And then it's like, oh, but then we're jumping right into this. Like right now, my oldest is a senior, which there's so much to do your senior year. And so I'm right in the thick of planning after prom, because that is something the PTO plans here. And we don't have a lot of parent help this year. So I just realized that I just need to do the bulk of the work myself. I do have some help, not a lot. And so I was like, well, what personally can I pull off? What personally can I do? And then I was a little miffed. And I thought, no, I'm doing this for my bud. Doing this for my kid because I want this for him. And if he and his girlfriend are the only ones that enjoy this, I really don't care. Like I'm doing it for them. So that's how I kind of created some balance, not really balance, but for that, like mental balance, that was the biggest issue with that. But yeah, I think it can be hard, but that's a sign that you might be doing too much with your PTO stuff and saying yes too much.
Right.
If you don't feel comfortable at home.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a hard, I mean, because you want things done well, and sometimes that's more visible, right? I mean, you're at school and people are relying on you, and your board counts on you to do things, and there's a deadline, and I work really well to deadlines. Yeah. I think I just need some more internal deadlines, like what you said, like the laundry on a schedule. Like, I mean,
right. But like, I wasn't doing that when my kids were your age, with your kids' age. So, because you're full disclosure, your kids are in like elementary and upper elementary.
I've got one. They span from 1st to 6th grade. So we've got one in like middle school here, and then elementary too.
Okay. We don't have middle school. We have upper elementary because our grades are funky. It's K through 6, 7, 8 for junior high, and then 9 through 12. So ours is funky. So anyway, your kids are considerably younger than my kids, because mine is 6 years older than your oldest, and then my youngest is, well, he's in 9th grade, so 3 years older.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it'll come with time too. I think the craziest times for PTA involvement and PTO involvement for me was those elementary years, because there's so much going on and they're little and your kids need so much help. Like now, my oldest can drive to school. He can get his brother for me. And so it's a little, and they can cook for themselves largely. So I'm like, spend for yourself tonight. Go for it.
Wow. Yeah, that's the dream. We'll get there.
Will get one way or the other.
We'll figure that out one day.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking like that really was the difference, just having your kids slightly be older. And I think it was a little crazier when the kids were younger. But like you, I think we just got pizza all the time. Not all the time, but just like once a week. But that's okay. It's totally fine. So who doesn't like pizza?
Right. Pizza night Fridays.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a question for you guys who are watching this video. Do you have a favorite meal plan for busy nights? Like Karen, do you have a go-to meal that is not McDonald's that you make?
It used to be like the chicken nuggets and the green beans and some mac and cheese, like the easy, quick, kid approved. No.
No, you don't have one? All right. Well, then I'll share mine. I like to do things in my crock pot or Instant Pot. So I like to use actually, I think I got rid of my crock pot. So I just have an Instant Pot that I use like a crock pot most of the time. So I like to do like shredded chicken tacos, because you can throw the chicken in the morning and literally just dump junk on top of it and you're good to go. Like, you know what I mean? I am all about, I'm not a lazy person, but like when it comes to food preparation, I like easy.
Yeah.
I like easy.
Yeah, I would say probably if we had to think about like chili, but that's more of like a fall food. I think now that we're moving into more of the summer and it's more outside grilling and things, like this is not my sweet spot. My husband does some of that cooking. And so then it's more of a team effort of like, oh, what's thawed? What's going on? What are you doing? What am I doing? And that makes it when it's all my autonomy, like when my husband's out of town, things get way simpler because I don't have to run anything by anybody. But something from
Yeah.
the freezer, and yeah, the Instapot is a huge time saver because then you can go
Yeah.
straight frozen and you don't have to like worry so
Yeah.
much about all the crock pot thawing and all.
When my kids were younger, I created this dinner that was called courses. So all it was leftovers because we ate it in courses. So I'd be like, here's the first course would be like some grapes. And I just use up whatever we had because I didn't like to cook when my husband wasn't here. So if he was traveling, like why? The kids don't care.
Yeah.
So yeah. So then they started asking, can we have courses for dinner? Because it was something new every time. I'd literally open the fridge and be like, okay, we have some leftover broccoli. I heat that up. I go, first course is broccoli. Then the second course is some string cheese. Third course, strawberries. Fourth course, some chicken.
I love that idea.
Random. But that became like, they
Like a
seriously
family favorite.
requested courses.
That's great. I'm going to try that one. I am really going to try that.
All right. Awesome. I hope it helps you. It just cracks me up because they'll still say, now it's morphed into fend for yourself. So I just go, they're like, is it fend for yourself? I'm like, yup. Again? Yup. It's hard. It's hard. Wait till your kids well, I guess you have the same thing because your kids are involved in gymnastics and dance and all that. I have high school sports, which like now my youngest is doing tennis, which is he has practice or a game every day.
Yep.
So it's just that much more. And he's not driving yet. So that is difficult, although he has started biking. So that has helped. So I guess, the take home tips for this one are meal planning and using your calendar wisely. Planning things out, seeing when you can actually do things. Yeah.
Yep. Give yourself some grace. The kids get fed. That's a check in the box, right? You know, you did your best. Tomorrow you'll do better. Just
That is true. That is true. There is no ideal. Like there's no, I don't know. Talk about bars, like holding ourselves up higher to where we have this ideal. And I don't know that that ever meshes with reality. So being, like you said, kind, giving yourself grace and being kind to yourself that you don't have to have a 4-course meal. Sometimes it can be a Christina courses meal.
It's going to be a Christina courses meal tonight.
It's a great way to clean out that fridge and not waste food.
That's right. Perfect.
I have never sold my husband on that though. I never even tried. Bridge too far, I thought. He's not a leftovers guy, which makes it annoying. So
yeah.
I digress. So, okay. Well, I really enjoyed having this conversation with you, Karen, and I hope for all of you that are watching that you also enjoyed this. Gives you some ideas and for how to balance your life as a PTO volunteer and keep the rest of your life on track too. So I will see you in the next video. Want even more guidance on how to be a stronger leader so you can run a better PTO or PTA? All these resources and more are waiting for you at PTOanswers.com.